Hi everybody, Annie here, and this is the first of our training videos that will be going out with our monthly newsletters from now on, just to give you some updates and thoughts of things that we've been doing over the past month, and some training ideas and strategies for you to help you over the next few weeks. It's August, so we're well and truly into school holiday mode, which can always be a difficult time for any families, including mine, and I think you need the patience of a saint to come through and come out the other end. And I know that an awful lot of professionals that are also trying to support families find this time of year quite difficult, because it's trying to find activities and things for everyone to access and keep everybody busy and safe, which ultimately is what it's all about. So what I wanted to talk to you about today is stress and anxiety, because I figure this time of year it's pretty much where it's going to be most days, and I can speak from personal experience of bringing up my own 3 children that these 6 weeks can be a real test of character, patience, and the ability to walk away and count to 50. So what I'm going to go through with you is our free download, which is currently available when you sign up for our newsletter, and for those of you that are obviously seeing this off a newsletter, you won't necessarily be eligible for that by signing up. But if it is something that you'd like to have as a free download, then if you just pop us an email from the email of the website, then we'll make sure that you can get a copy of that so that you don't miss out. And what I'm going to talk about is a way of looking at anxiety and feeling overwhelmed that is relevant to every single person in the world. This isn't just something that is autism specific, it's something that is relevant to all of us. And so as parents and siblings, as well as young people who may be living with autism or ADHD, this is very, very relevant to them too. So we call it our 3 faces. Apologies if it's something that you've seen before, but for us it's quite key in us explaining to people what it's like to be living with these challenges every day. So the first face here, which I'm hoping that you can see nice and clearly on the screen, is when we're having a good day. So that's the sort of day where we haven't lost the car keys, and we haven't woken up and found that the washing machine's flooded the kitchen floor, and we're not running around because we need to get out on time, and everybody's really not happy about that and is challenging and pushing boundaries, and you're finding that extremely difficult to manage. And so we all know what that feels like, all right? We all have bad days. We all have times when we are struggling, and so we know what it's like when we're not. We know what it's like when everything just works and everybody is calm and going out of the door happily, or the house is all sorted and everything's where it should be, and how much better that actually feels. And when we feel like that, we're actually far more able to deal with things that then suddenly come out of the blue at us. So if we're all ready and calm and going really well, we're more able to deal with an argument, for example, between 2 of the children. We're more able to deal with having lost one thing, and we can think and process that. And for children, when they're in this situation, perhaps in school, then they're more able to listen and learn to make choices, to be able to sit still when maybe that isn't what they really want to do, but they can manage things. And we all know what that feels like and how good that can be in being able to make really good choices about the sorts of things that we're going to do. When that stress and anxiety starts to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and it can also be a really good emotion, so feeling really excited about going somewhere, or a bit like we do at Christmas when the kids get really, really excited, and then they start to get really tired and not able to concentrate or do what you want them to do. And what happens is it's like filling up a bucket with water, and it gets bigger and fuller and fuller and fuller. And as we do that, all of a sudden this space that we had at the top of our head to do all of those really cool things, which is being able to manage, being able to listen and make choices and say the right thing and think things through, we lose that. We can't do that when we're completely overwhelmed emotionally. And equally when we're completely overwhelmed from a sensory perspective as well. So it may be that you're in somewhere that's really, really noisy, or that you're struggling because there's this really horrible smell, or even a really, really nice smell that you then getting distracted and you can't concentrate on. But equally, when somebody's made you really upset, really frightened, or you're really scared, or you're really frustrated because something's not going really well, and this is the time when we lose our temper, or we can't concentrate and we can't think, and we say stupid things to people, things that when we've calmed down we might live to regret and think, oh, I wish I hadn't said that, how stupid was I to have said that, I'm really, really sorry. And we certainly can't hear what somebody else is trying to tell us. We can't process that someone is asking us to calm down. All we're feeling is really, really cross and really, really upset, and we just want to let all of that out. And we all know what that feels like as adults, and we also know what it feels like when our children are in this position and maybe they've had a really bad day at school, or they're just venting that anger at each other and fighting amongst themselves, and we know what that's like. And the third phase here is when we bury everything down here. So we tell everybody that we're feeling fine when we're really, really not. We go around saying, yeah, I'm really well, thanks, how are you? When perhaps something really horrible is going on at home, or we've just had some really bad news, but we don't want anybody else to know about it, so we hold it together. And an awful lot of our children do this all day when they're in environments that they're really struggling not to become overwhelmed and frustrated and angry, and so they're holding it together, a bit like a bottle of Coke that's been shaken up and the lid's on, and all those bubbles in that Coke bottle are getting bubbly and bubbly and bubbly and bubbly and desperately need to escape. And that's what eventually happens, is all of that stuff down here will suddenly just explode. And it's when children come out of classrooms and the end of the school day, and it's mum that cops it in the playground. Or I had one mum say to me once, I always know when he's in this state because his rucksack comes through the door before he does. And I think we can all relate to that. We can all relate to that personally. An awful lot of us that are carers who are dealing with some quite difficult situations day in and day out as parents, or even where we may be able to be in a position where we're caring for an elderly relative, for example. We hold all of that stress and anxiety and fear together. We're holding it together all of the while. And what happens is, when we do that for a long period of time, that makes you ill. Holding emotions in one place means that you end up getting depressed, or you end up being physically unwell and not able to sleep, and you just get overwhelmed and you feel like you can't face another day. So we can relate to this, all of us can relate to this, and the thing is, most of the time, most people are fairly close to that middle line. Our lives chug along and they don't necessarily peak and trough majorly, apart from occasionally when something quite big will go on. What happens though for us as our families, and for the children that are living with autism and ADHD, and for the adults as well, they're pretty much living close to these two lines most of the day. They're either completely overwhelmed and are expressing that in a way that may be considered to be inappropriate, or they may start hitting out physically, or throwing things, or running away, to here where they're completely withdrawn and trying to hold it together, but all they're thinking about is, I mustn't lose it, I mustn't lose it, I mustn't lose it, I've got to hold it together, hold it together, hold it together, hold it together, and it's exhausting. And to be like this all the time is not good. It's not good for them physically, emotionally, and it's also not good for us, because I think an awful lot of parents are also here an awful lot of the time, trying desperately hard to hold it together and manage to get out of bed and face another day of dealing with things that perhaps they don't understand. They feel that they're not doing as well as they should, and therefore these situations make life very, very difficult and challenging for them. So what can we do to help? Well, I think first of all is getting to understand which phase you're at. We work with an awful lot of people who are now in a position of being able to say, hi Annie, I'm face number 3 today, or actually I'm fairly close to being face number 1 today, and so I'm really in a good place to listen to what it is that you've got to say. And that's really cool, because being able to spot where you are gives you a clue of what you should take responsibility for to manage. So for us as perhaps carers and parents, being able to spot that we're here means that we need to do something about that, and we need to find something that allows us to come back up to the middle more often. And equally, if we're up here, now is not a good time to be trying to manage a situation with a child who is also up here, because it just turns into banging heads together, and that isn't good for anybody involved. So what we need to do is get used to being able to identify where we are, and then being able to think of the things that help calm us back down or help calm us back up, equally important, as we've already discussed. So knowing what we need to do when we're up here, and maybe stopping it, going all the way, is important. But equally important is being able to identify the things that are taking us up there in the first place, and trying to avoid those or manage them or approach them in a different way so they don't take us all the way up here. And being able to understand for your child where they are and what it is that's taken them to that place is really, really important, and is a real skill that we can help within ourselves, but also help our children to be able to understand and work with as well. And this one here, what is it that we need to do to chill out and relax? And all of us do different things. So it may be that we need to have a walk for 5 minutes, or it may be that we just need to go upstairs and get out of the way. And so many of the families at this time would be going, but Annie, I really can't do that. You know, I can't leave them, because if I leave them, when I come back down, all mayhem will have you know, ensued, where I've left them alone for 5 minutes because I just needed some time out. So plan those times out. All right, I always said that if mums and dads had lunch break when they're caring at home, life would be a whole lot better, because that consistent 15 minutes, half an hour of being able just to sit and eat your lunch in peace is just a blessing, and something I'm sure an awful lot of you never achieve. I certainly didn't when my kids were little. So I think, but that it's the concept of being able to have regular, small, sustained breaks, as opposed to, oh, we'll have a weekend away, because actually that, although they're marvellous things to do and really fab, they're not solving things on a day-to-day basis. And so you need to be thinking about, what is it that I actually need to help me get through the day? What is it that would make life a whole lot easier? I have to say, personally, I find that getting up half an hour earlier than everybody else in the house, and I have that half an hour to myself where I can sit and drink a cup of coffee, have a piece of toast, eat my breakfast, read the paper, whatever it is, but just that time to get up and focus and plan my day in my head is my coping strategy, one of my things that is really, really important to my day, and me being able to deal with everything. But there will be other things for other people that will be equally important. Maybe it's, if I could just go and have a cup of tea after the evening meal, and somebody else maybe bath the kids for half an hour, then actually that would really, really help me. Or if I could just take the dog for a walk on my own instead of having to take the kids with me. You know, think through what it is that's going to be really, really useful for you, so that you are not constantly holding it together down here. You're giving yourself some time to just reflect and think about stuff, and be able to acknowledge all the good stuff that you're doing too. It's because it's not just about thinking everything that isn't going well, because I'll guarantee you somewhere in there are some pretty amazing things that are going really, really well, and being able to spot those and do more of those stops this. And the gift that we then give to these amazing children of ours is teaching them to do these things as well, teaching them to spot where they are, giving them the skills to be able to come forward and go, I'm here, or I'm down here and I need some help to be able to come back up, is really where this needs to go. So I hope this has been helpful. Please send us an email if you want a copy of this. There's some information and stuff on the back of this as well, and we'll send one to you as an email attachment, so please just let us know. But equally, if you've got any thoughts or comments about what you've listened to today, then please do get in touch, because it's really, really important to us to make sure that the stuff that we're talking about is really helpful to you, and it's going to make your life easier, because that's what we're about. It's about giving you the tools and strategies and information so that you understand stuff, you're taking care of yourself, and you're taking care of your children and your families, and you're getting more good days than bad, because that's what it's all about. So thanks ever so much for listening. I hope that August and the holidays continue to go well for you, but we're here if things are really not going well and you need some support. Then please just pick up the phone or send us an email, and we'll see what we can do to help. Take care, and we'll see you again in September.